What's good everyone, it's Switcher here, and I thought with the Season 3 update we would go back through the best settings for Warzone. It reset all my settings, so I had to essentially recalibrate myself. A couple of things have changed since I last did this video months ago, so I thought we'd run through them. I know some people are still making the mistakes that they should not be, so let's jump into it. Now, I personally run tactical flips, and I run this for a couple of reasons. One, the flipped changes my bumpers, L1 and R1, so I'm shooting with them instead of the triggers. Personal preference, some people prefer it, some people don't. Tactical itself, however, will switch your prone and melee button, so this would now be prone and this would be melee. I actually have paddles on the back, so it doesn't really matter anymore, but when I first started using tactical I didn't, which is why I did it, so I could drop shot primarily. I know some people aren't the biggest fan of it, they have their own preferences that have risen with Warzone, like bumper jumper and things like that. I personally do prefer tactical flips, so give it a go if you haven't and you are struggling. A default stick layout, default invert. My dead zone currently sits anywhere between 0.09 and 0.07. Now, dead zone, if you don't know what it is, it stops stick drift, so if you ever see your aim just kind of like slowly moving to one side, that's why. I need a new controller desperately. I have one ordered on the way, so my dead zone is slowly creeping up as my stick drift gets worse. Sometimes controllers just come with stick drift. There's a ton of videos out there on how to fix it. Some work, some don't. It's just one of those things with controllers, especially PlayStation controllers. So if you do find yourself drifting, do make sure to adjust the dead zone a little bit, but you want to keep it as low as possible because it essentially affects how sensitive your aim will be, or any of your stick movement will be going forward, so do just bear that in mind. Stick sensitivity is again personal preference. The best thing you can do is go and shoot some bots or hop into Plunder and see what works for you. I was sat at 7.7. Something about this update makes that feel too high. I don't know if it's how quick the movement is with some of the SMGs and the XM4 fields, but I have dropped it down a notch and I feel like that suits me a lot better. Similarly with the low zoom, I was sitting at a solid 1. It didn't really ever felt the need to change it. I was shooting pretty straight. I have dropped that down again just because of how glidey and the strafe speed on the XM4 I've been using is insane. I did put a build up for that a couple of days ago now, so if you do want to go check that out, just check my channel. I don't snipe as a general rule, so this is staying at 1. I did have it before they reset my settings, like down by 9.6, 9.7. It's really not that important. I do have a standard aim response curve type. Some people prefer linear. I really don't like it. Keep it standard. If you're not seeing any major issues, you can play around with it if you really want to, but standard's where it's at for me. Right, aim assist is where it gets interesting. Personally, I run precision, but I saw a few things on YouTube that since the update, precision's really been fucking up a lot of people's PlayStation 4s. So I tried running standard over the past couple of games I've just played. I didn't really see a difference. So I probably am going to switch back to precision. It just it sticks to the player. It's really it feels a bit broken when you first make that switch from standard to precision. Do try it out. It's pretty insane. Obviously, weapon mount stays exactly the same. Same with the movement exit. ADS sign, equipment behaviour, all that sort of stuff. Use contextual tap for Warzone. Essentially means that you tap to reload or to use, so you never have to hold down, but the priority is always on use. So if you're at a door but you also need to reload your gun, if you tap to open the door, it will open the door, it won't reload. If you want to reload that gun, then you have to hold down, but if you're stood in an open field and you just tap, it will reload your gun. Makes looting really easy, it just makes everything super easy. It feels really weird to play without it now. All of this is pretty standard in terms of depleted ammo, weapon switch. The armor plate behaviour, I personally have it on apply all. I know not everyone likes that, they want to have more control over how many times they're plating, but if I don't want to plate fully, or if I'm in a situation where I can't, pretty much any weapon will cancel this out. Any movement that isn't YYing, you can press Y again and it will stop it from continuing to apply plates. It just makes it easier to apply all. I only have to tap it once, then I have my other thumb free to move about and aim and stay on the move. It's pretty standard. I don't know, some people do prefer apply one, I personally don't. I definitely have to play around with it. It changed my life. My slide behaviour is set to tap because I don't want to be holding down the slide button. It just makes my life easier, especially with how much you're slide cancelling in this game. I obviously don't have auto move forward on, but I do have auto attack sprint. Super good. Stops breaking controllers with how much attack sprint's in. It's just one less thing to think about. It feels really weird to play without it. And I do turn off my parachute auto deploy, just so I can get as close to the ground as possible and the game doesn't screw me over by pulling the parachute when I'm like 6 inches away from someone and they just gently pop me out the sky. Now, when it comes to the general, I do actually have it at 60. I know some people have been dropping it down to 55 since the new update. I've kept it there. I might have a play around with it. My film grain is usually at 0. Evidently, I forgot to change that when it fucked up my settings. I leave tooltips on. I don't have subtitles on. I know some people do prefer it. I just don't particularly need it. I did play with colorblind on, this colorblind for a little while. I didn't really make much difference, although I think it might look nicer in Verdansk 84, so I might put it back on. I haven't quite decided, but currently I'm playing with it off. Obviously, you're going to want to turn off all the motion blurs. You don't need them on. It's just unnecessary. Make sure you have your minimap set to square. Please, for God's sake. The number of people I see with circle, like look how much more of the map you can see when it's on square. Same with the minimap rotation you want to have on. All of this is pretty much personal preference down the bottom. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to leave audio out purely because I use a mix amp and I use custom settings on that mix amp, so this really isn't going to affect you guys if you're just looking for audio settings in game. I can do a video about what I used to use before the mix amp if that's something that interests you. Audio is a lot of trial and error. Despite what people will say the videos they put out, audio settings are trial and error. There is nothing more to it. Drop the music down as low as you can and just play around with the other settings until you're enhancing the sounds of enemies around you as much as possible, depending on your headset. That really is all there is to it. I wish I could give you, you know, some easy equation that makes it work, but I just simply can't. As always, if you did enjoy the video, give it a like, subscribe if you want to find your way back. Hope you all have a good day, and I'll see you next time. Bye. This is post-editing, post-recording Smudger coming in. After I've just opened up this footage to edit it. If you have a TikTok, please follow me on it. We're going to start being super active on there. I've got about a week's worth of clips lined up, a week's worth of videos lined up, ready to go. If you use TikTok, if you waste your days away like I do on there, I'd really appreciate a follow. Really going to try and get that going. We've already seen some mad growth in it, like something stupid like 1,200 followers in the past 7 days. So do make sure you are over there if you use it. If you don't use it because you know it'll ruin your life, you have more self-control than I do. I forgot to put that in at the end of the video, so here it is now. Have a good day.